Casinos do not need you to lose all your money at once. They only need you to stop feeling the loss while it is happening. That is the quiet power behind the lights, the sounds, the chips, the credits, the tickets, and the free drinks. Everything inside a casino is designed to create distance between the player and the real money leaving their hands. The loss does not feel sharp. It feels softened, delayed, almost unreal. A $20 bill becomes a chip becomes a bet becomes a flash of sound, color, and motion. And somewhere inside that process, the money stops feeling like money. That is where the casino gains control. Because the most dangerous part of gambling may not be the moment you lose. It may be the moment you forget what losing feels like. To understand how this system works, you have to look at a casino differently. Not as a room full of games, but as a carefully engineered environment. On the surface, it feels open, exciting, almost effortless. Bright floors, polished tables, rows of slot machines, cocktail servers moving through the aisles, music running in the background, a constant rhythm of motion, light, and reward. Everything appears casual, but very little inside a casino is accidental. The chips are not just convenient tools for betting. The ticket machines are not just faster than coins. The digital credits on a screen are not just modern technology. The loyalty points, the reward cards, the ringing sounds, the bonus animations, the free drinks, the missing clocks, the sealed-off feeling from the outside world. All of it works together. The goal is simple. Keep the player inside the system longer. A casino does not have to force anyone to gamble. It only has to make gambling feel smoother, lighter, less painful than handing over real cash. The moment money is converted into something else, the emotional weight changes. $100 in your wallet feels real. $100 in chips feels playable. That difference is not small. It is the foundation of the entire experience. And once the casino controls how money feels, it begins to control how long people are willing to keep losing it. The financial engine behind this system depends on one quiet idea. Small losses are easier to accept when they do not look like losses. When a player puts $20 into a slot machine, the screen does not usually keep reminding them that real cash is disappearing. It turns that money into credits. The number changes form. It becomes cleaner, less emotional, more game-like. A dollar is no longer a dollar. It becomes 100 credits. Then a spin costs 5 credits, then 10, then 20. That conversion matters because it breaks the emotional link between the bet and the bank account. At a table game, the same thing happens with chips. Cash feels personal. Chips feel temporary. A black chip worth $100 can slide across the felt faster than most people would ever hand a $100 bill to a cashier.
Stranger. The physical pain is reduced because the symbol has changed. This is where casinos protect the business model. They do not need every player to gamble recklessly. They only need enough players to extend the session. Another spin, another hand, another small bet that does not feel serious in the moment. Over time, those small decisions become the revenue stream. The longer a player stays in the game, the more the math has time to work. And the casino understands that math better than anyone. The house edge may look small on paper, but inside a busy casino, across thousands of machines and tables, repeated hour after hour, it becomes enormous. A tiny advantage multiplied by time, volume, and emotional distance can produce a very large outcome. That is why the design is so focused on reducing hesitation. Tickets make cashing out feel incomplete. Credits make balance changes feel abstract. Loyalty points make spending feel like progress. Bonus sounds make partial returns feel like wins. Even when the player is down overall, the system keeps feeding them moments that feel like movement. Not victory, just enough movement to continue. And that is the financial logic of the casino floor. It turns loss into activity. It turns spending into play. It turns a shrinking balance into a series of decisions that feel smaller than they really are. This system did not appear by accident. It grew because Las Vegas changed. The city moved from cheap food, cheap rooms, and straightforward gambling into a broader model built around total spending. Hotels, restaurants, entertainment, nightlife, loyalty programs, resort fees, parking fees, premium seating, branded experiences. The casino floor became only one part of a much larger machine. But the psychology stayed the same. The goal was still to make spending feel normal. That matters even more now, because modern visitors are more price sensitive than they used to be. A trip to Las Vegas no longer feels cheap. Flights cost more. Rooms carry extra fees. Drinks can feel extreme. Food prices climb quickly. Even before a tourist sits down at a slot machine, they may already feel financially squeezed. So the casino has to do something very important. It has to soften the next payment. That is why the environment is built to reduce friction. No clocks, no windows, no clear sense of how long you have been inside. The outside world disappears. Day and night become less important. A player who planned to gamble for 30 minutes can easily stay much longer, because the room does not keep reminding them that time is passing. And when time becomes blurry, money becomes blurry too. This is the broader pressure behind the design. Las Vegas is asking visitors to spend more across almost every part of the trip, while still trying to preserve the feeling of escape. That is a difficult balance. If guests become too aware of the cost, they pull back. They leave the table. They check their balance. They become cautious. The unawareness. The casino floor is designed to fight that caution. It replaces real-world thinking with atmosphere, sound, light, movement, small rewards, near wins, a drink arriving at the right moment, a machine celebrating a payout that may still be smaller than the original bet. In a city where every visitor is being asked to pay more, the most valuable business tool is not just entertainment, it is the ability to make people feel like they are not really spending. The weakness in this system is that it depends on a fragile emotional trick. The casino has to make losing feel light enough to continue, but not so obvious that the player suddenly wakes up to what is happening. That balance is powerful, but it is also dangerous, because once people recognize the pattern, the experience can start to feel less like entertainment and more like manipulation. And this is where the strategy becomes risky. Every substitute for money creates distance. Chips create distance. Credits create distance. Tickets create distance. Reward points create distance. Cashless gaming creates even more. The player is not always watching real money leave. They are watching symbols move through a system. That can make spending easier, but it can also make trust weaker. Because the more abstract the money becomes, the easier it is for the player to lose track of the real cost. A person may remember putting in $100, then another, then one more. But once those bills, bonuses, and ticket vouchers, the loss becomes fragmented. It no longer feels like one clear decision. It feels like a series of small moments. That is the strategic flaw. The casino is not only selling gambling. It is selling a version of gambling where financial pain is delayed. But delayed pain does not disappear. It returns later, often after the session ends, when the player checks their wallet, their bank balance, or the pile of tickets that never became cash again. In the short term, this design can increase time on device, table play, and overall spend. It can make the floor feel more active and profitable. But in the long term, it risks damaging the emotional relationship between the visitor and the casino. People may accept losing, they may even expect it, but they are less likely to forgive the feeling that the system made losing too easy to ignore. And once that feeling spreads, the casino's greatest advantage can start becoming its greatest liability. The clearest sign of pressure is not always a financial report. Sometimes it is visible on the floor itself. A player sits at a machine longer than planned. The credits rise for a moment, then fall again. The sound still celebrates. The lights still flash. The screen still gives the impression that something is happening. But underneath the motion, the balance keeps shrinking. That is the quiet stress point inside the casino model. The system needs players to stay emotionally engaged even when the math is working against them. So it gives
them signals that soften the decline. A small payout, a bonus tease, a near miss, a reward point increase, a drink placed beside the machine, a ticket printed with a number that still feels like value, even if it is much smaller than what went in. These are not random details. They are signs of how much effort the environment spends managing perception. If the casino floor were honest in emotional terms, every loss would feel immediate. Every bet would feel like cash leaving the hand. Every hour would feel like an hour. Every losing streak would feel heavier much sooner. But the floor is designed to prevent that. It keeps the player inside a controlled emotional rhythm, where losing can feel slow, softened, and strangely normal. And that reveals the deeper pressure inside the business. The casino is not only competing against other resorts, it is competing against the player's own awareness. The moment the player fully feels the money leaving, the session becomes harder to sustain. So the system keeps working to delay that moment. Casinos understand that players are not blind to loss forever. So the system offers relief before the discomfort becomes too strong. That relief can come in many forms: a free drink, a loyalty point bonus, a small cashback offer, a discounted room, a buffet credit, a tier status upgrade, a message that says the player is close to a reward. These gestures are not just hospitality. They are part of a larger strategy of keeping the relationship alive after money has already been lost. The message is subtle. You are not just losing. You are earning something. That idea is extremely powerful because it reframes the entire experience. A player who has lost $200 may still feel they are building points, earning status, unlocking perks, or getting closer to a comp. The loss is still real, but the system surrounds it with small signs of progress. It gives the player a reason to stay. Cashless gaming pushes this even further. By removing friction from the transaction, casinos can make funding the next bet faster and smoother. The player does not always have to walk to an ATM, touch cash, or feel the full interruption of spending more. The experience becomes cleaner, more efficient, and more dangerous for anyone who loses track of the real total. But these solutions do not solve the root problem. They only manage the feeling around it, because the core issue remains the same. The casino is still trying to make loss feel less painful in the moment. The player may receive rewards, but those rewards are usually smaller than the money required to chase them. The drink may be free, but the session is not. The points may feel valuable, but they are built on continued spending. In the end, these tools do not remove the cost. They only delay the moment when the player fully recognizes it. The future of casino gambling may become even more abstract. Less cash, more apps, more credits, more digital wallets, more loyalty.
Systems that blur the line between spending, playing, earning, and losing. The casino floor will keep looking modern, smoother, more convenient. But convenience always raises the same question. For casinos, the advantage is clear. The easier it becomes to move money into the game, the easier it becomes to extend play. The less a player feels the weight of each transaction, the longer the system can keep working. But for the player, the danger is just as clear. The loss becomes quieter. And that may be the real dark truth behind the lights of Las Vegas. The greatest weapon of the casino is not luck. It is not even the house edge. It is the ability to make losing feel slow, soft, and almost invisible. So the real question is not whether casinos can keep making people gamble. The real question is how long people can keep forgetting that the money was real. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this.